There is a man in Italy who was told exactly how he was going to die. Not by a fortune teller, by his own body. One night in his 50s, he stopped being able to fall asleep. Not trouble sleeping, not insomnia like you've had. He simply could not cross the line into sleep ever again. His doctors couldn't stop it. Sleeping pills did nothing. And he knew, because he'd watched his father and two sisters die the same way, that he had about 18 months left. He was right. This disease is real. It runs in families, and there is still no cure. But it points at a question that sounds simple and turns out to be terrifying. What actually happens if you just stop sleeping? Let's start with something you've probably already done, maybe last night, staying awake for 24 hours. It sounds harmless. You survived it after all. Congratulations, your brain has notes. Pull one all-nighter, and by hour 24, your brain is running at about the same level as someone legally too drunk to drive. And the difference is, that guy knows he shouldn't be behind the wheel. You think you're fine, you are not fine. Your reaction time drops. You get irritable over nothing, and you forget why you walked into a room. Which, hey, you already know that feeling. That's a whole other story. Push to 36 hours, and your hormones start slipping out of balance. Your body wants to repair itself overnight, like it always does. But the repair crew clocked in, found you still awake, and just stood there. And here's the part almost nobody knows. While you sleep, your brain is being cleaned. A drainage network called the glymphatic system opens up and flushes out the waste your brain cells produce all day. Skip sleep, and the garbage stays in. So by the end of day one, you're not just tired. You're basically driving drunk, running on broken hormones, inside a skull nobody's emptied all day. It's the mental equivalent of a fridge you're scared to open. And your body has noticed. At around 48 hours awake, your brain stops asking. It stops negotiating. It just starts taking sleep without your permission, like a roommate who's done being polite. These are called micro-sleeps. Your brain goes offline for a few seconds at a time, eyes sometimes still open, and you don't even realize it happened. Imagine that behind the wheel. This is why sleep deprivation causes crashes that look impossible. The driver never braked, because for 4 seconds, nobody was home. You can fight sleep. You will lose. And this is the first clue to something important. Sleep is not optional. Your brain does not care about your deadline, your exam, or your world record. It will wait until you blink, and it will simply take what it needs. But what if it couldn't? What if the override switch was broken? Past 72 hours, the mind starts to come apart. First, the hallucinations. A street sign becomes a person. Shadows start moving. In studies, vision is the first sense to break, then touch, then hearing. Your brain, starved of sleep, begins filling in a reality that isn't there. Then the delusions, paranoia, the feeling of being watched, controlled, laughed at. At this point, a sleep-deprived brain looks, on a scan and in behavior, disturbingly close to acute psychosis. We actually know how far this goes because of a 17-year-old boy. In 1963, a high schooler named Randy Gardner decided to break the world record for staying awake for a science fair. By day 4, he was convinced he was a famous football player. By day 7, his speech was slurring and his memory was full of holes. By day 10, he was paranoid about a radio host he thought was trying to make him look foolish. He made it 11 days, 264 hours. It's one of the most famous records in the history of sleep science. But Randy got lucky, because in animals, this experiment has an ending. For a long time, no one could ethically answer the real question: can lack of sleep by itself kill a healthy body? So researchers ran it on rats. Rats kept completely from sleeping died, every single one, within about 2 to 3 weeks. And here's the eerie part. When scientists examined their bodies, they couldn't find a clear cause of death, no single failed organ. The rats lost weight while eating more. They couldn't keep their own body temperature stable. They just fell apart everywhere at once. For decades, that was the mystery. Sleep loss was clearly lethal, but why? What actually kills you? In 2020, a team at Harvard found it, and it wasn't in the brain. It was in the gut. When they kept animals awake, damaging molecules called reactive oxygen species, basically cellular rust, built up in the intestines. Not the brain, the gut, and they kept building, peaking right around the point where the animals would die. Then the team did something incredible. They fed the sleep-deprived animals antioxidants, compounds that mop up that rust. And the animals lived, normal lifespan, still not sleeping. Which flipped our understanding of sleep completely. Sleep may not just be rest for a tired brain, it may be the nightly cleanup that keeps your entire body from poisoning itself. Stop sleeping, and you don't shut down like a machine losing power. You slowly rust from the inside. Which brings us back to the man in Italy. His disease has a name, fatal familial insomnia. A tiny misfolded protein slowly destroys the thalamus, the part of the brain that lets you fall asleep. The switch doesn't just turn off, it's dismantled. He couldn't take antioxidants to escape it. He couldn't take anything. He stayed awake until his body gave out, exactly as he predicted. So the next time you're lying in the dark, annoyed that you can't fall asleep, remember that falling asleep is the single most important thing your body will do all day, and that some people would give anything to do the one thing you're about to do for free.